What happened to Harley Quinn in Joker 2? Despite Lady Gaga's character being heavily pushed in all the marketing for this movie, with the promise of her being one of the main characters, she's barely in this movie. But what's also strange is that we got a lot of behind the scenes footage and footage in trailers that didn't actually make it to the final cut. So it seems that most of her scenes were actually cut from the movie. And based on the footage that we have, these are the 4 scenes that we know about. The first is her appearance at the courtroom. We see her finally walking up the steps in her full Harley Quinn costume, and she interacts with the crowd a lot, even having this controversial scene of her kissing a woman who was heckling her, telling her that she was gonna go to hell, and then Lee responds, "Now we both are going to."
Let her in, it's Joker's girl.
So for box office reasons, that's probably why that was cut. And speaking of her being in her full Harley Quinn getup, a whole transformation scene was also cut. And we did see a scene of her assembling her costume a little bit, but this scene was eliminated that was crucial. Seeing her in the elevator, which mirrors the scene that we saw in Joker 1, when Arthur Fleck finally turns into the Joker. The end of the movie was also super different, where in the final cut of the movie, Lee is just mainly disappointed in Arthur, that he's not actually the Joker and just completely disappointed her, and she's no longer in love with him. When as we see in this behind the scenes footage, she goes full psycho, calling the police on Arthur, and having a huge crazy smile on her face. And there was also a whole other singing and dance number.
This bitch is bugging.
Which again, another complaint people have been having about the movie is that Lady Gaga isn't utilized well. She has an insane amount of singing talent, she just doesn't do it that much. So it seems strange that they cut a whole other song from this movie. And lastly, this going down the steps scene, which again mirrors a scene in Joker 1, that was also heavily in all the marketing, was mysteriously not in the final cut. And some people have said the scene was kind of corny and cringy, so that's maybe why they eliminated it, but again, they really pushed it in the marketing. And these are only the scenes that we know about. Despite being a main character, she doesn't really take up that much of the screen time. And the reception for this movie has been pretty terrible, making less money opening weekend than both The Flash, Marvels, and even about the same amount as Morbius. It was also given a D on CinemaScore, making it the worst ranked comic book movie of all time. Not to mention both the critic and the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes keeps on plummeting. And even managed to pull in almost 3 times less money than the original did. Which is crazy because this movie has a budget of about $200 million, while the original had around 50.